Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make Popeyes spicy chicken sandwiches. So to do this, I am making 5 sandwiches. So what I'm doing is cutting up my chicken to get all the fat and any of the debris off the outside of it, because sometimes you have parts you need to cut off that are the tough parts, pieces that you really don't want on your chicken when you're going to be eating a chicken sandwich. And there's like a ridge that runs down one side of the chicken breast that always has a little bit of toughness to it and a whole lot of fat. You want to cut that off. If you have any extra fat anywhere else on your breast, cut it until you get all these pieces off of here. And we're going to do this to all 5 pieces of the meat until we get them completely done, because we want to get them really cleaned up, because in a second we're actually going to take these and pound them out to make them flatter and a little bit better. Now mind you, if you look at my chicken breasts, they're all about medium size. That's what you want. If you have like a jumbo extra large breast, that is going to make the thickest chicken sandwich you ever had, and that is not always a good thing because it's kind of hard to eat that much chicken. So try to get the medium sized ones. Now we're going to take each of these breasts that have been cleaned up, and we're going to take a mallet and just pound these things until they are really pounded out. One, it's going to make them wider for the chicken sandwich, but 2, it's going to tenderize them and make them a lot better to eat, because it's going to be a lot better on the chicken, because sometimes chicken can be tough when you get it out of the store. At least this way you're giving it a fair chance of not being. And if you had like a smaller breast, it's actually going to spread this out to where it's enough to actually cover a chicken sandwich and not be just this tiny little sliver of a breast. So go ahead and pound it out until you go on both sides of each one of these. Like I said, I had 5 of them, so I'm going to go ahead and do them all. And then we're going to move on to the next step in just a minute after they're all pounded out. Best thing about this is, if you have like medium to small breasts, this is going to stretch your meat out a bit. So it's actually going to be a decent sized sandwich. And you know, if you're had like 5 people to feed or whatever, you got plenty of food here. Just add some stuff to this, like make some french fries or something to go with it, or something to go as a side, and you're in business, because you're going to have all of this here to eat. And like I said, you could easily feed 5 people, especially if you're doing this for lunch, dinner, or whatever. Depending on what you put with it, you're making a meal. And it's easy enough if you have potatoes around the house just to cut these up and do some fries and throw them right up there with it, because it will be a great meal. And you could even do some seasoned fries if you want to, because I've done that in a video before, where you can turn your regular french fries into seasoned fries just by cutting up the potato and adding certain seasonings to it and some oil and then cooking it. So once we get all of these pounded out, we're going to get ready to put together everything that's going to give you the taste on the outside of these. We're going to make a breading, we're going to make a dipping stuff, we're going to do a little bit of everything. So we're going to put them all in buttermilk first, and you're going to need about 1.5 cups of buttermilk, because we want enough in there to actually cover these. So we're going to get them in, let them sit in there for a minute or so. You just want to get them really coated and make sure that they've had, you know, maybe 10 minutes just to sit in this, to take on some of the flavor of the buttermilk, because it's going to help so much. And then what we're going to do is create a bag that we're going to dip these in as we're breading them. So we are putting into this 2 cups of flour, and as you can see, I have 2 of these here. And then to this, we're going to add some seasoning to really push this and let it do what it needs to. So we have 2 teaspoons of pepper, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 3 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of salt. Now these are all mixed together in that one container. And then 3 teaspoons of chicken seasoning. And once this is all in there, we're going to shake this up and just mix it up to make sure all that seasoning goes through the flour, because this is what's going to coat the outside of the chicken. You want that to really be mixed up and not have one thing like a whole big old lump of salt in one place, because if you have it that way, it's not going to taste great. So mix it up really well. Once you get it done, get some of that air out of the bag, set it to the side. Now we're going to start out with another container here. We got a large bowl. We're adding 2 eggs. Then to this, we're going to add 1/3 cup of water. And then after that, we're going to add anywhere from a half, maybe around 1/3 cup of hot sauce, depending on how hot you want it. I'd go 1/3 cup if you don't want to burn your mouth. If you want it really hot, go 1/2 cup. You can actually gauge how hot you want to make this, you know, really spicy or not. Mix that up, stir it up, and then once we get this completely mixed through, we're going to set up a little way of working our way through from dipping the chicken into each thing that we have to work with, because we're going to dip it into flour, we're going to dip it into this spicy egg mixture here, and we're going to go back and forth a little bit until we get them all coated and ready to go into our oil. So you're going to take your chicken, make sure it's really coated with the buttermilk, and then put it into your flour mixture and shake it about a little bit and get it completely coated. Then once you get a really good coating on this, you're going to take that breast from in there and put it into the hot sauce mix, and then go ahead and get that really coated from that, and then bring it back and hit it in that flour one more time and get it really coated. So that way you're getting a double dip of the breading on the outside of it, but you got the buttermilk, you got the hot sauce and egg mix and all, and it's really great the way this is all going to work together. Now make sure that you get a good coating of the flour everywhere, including underneath. As you can see, I was redipping mine, and we're going to do this for each one of these breasts until we get them completely coated, and just go in that order. Go to the flour, shake it up, take it over, put in the hot sauce, bring it back, put it in the flour, shake it up again, then bring it over and put it on a plate, and we're going to get ready to fry these in just a few minutes. Now, in the meantime, you are going to need some oil for frying, and you're going to probably need to put about like 2 inches of oil in a big pan, because you're going to put a few of these in at a time. We want to get that oil up to 350 degrees because we want this to be hot enough to cook these. So, you know, as you're actually breading these, you can have that oil warming up. And then once you have your pan ready to roll, and we're going to do this, we're going to bring in enough of these to where they fit in the pan, but we don't want to overcrowd. So you could probably fit like 3 of these in at a time. We don't want these like 4 of them over top of each other and only part of it hitting the oil. And you notice the oil is not covering these completely. That's fine. You just need to remember that you have to flip these as they're cooking, and that way you can get both sides in, because the whole goal here is to, 1, get them cooked completely through, but 2, to make them really golden on the outside and they're gonna have a really great look. So these are gonna cook for about 18 minutes maybe. You could go a couple minutes less if you think it's done at that point. But I always do it like about 8 minutes on each side, just to make sure that it's cooked through. And once it gets golden underneath, you're going to turn it. So just do about 8 minutes and check it, and if it's ready, flip it. And once you're doing this, if you notice that you think it could go a little darker on the color on the outside, you can flip it again and just give it another minute or so on each side. What you're trying to get to, though, is an internal temperature of your chicken breast at 165 degrees, and you know that's when it's done. So you can take a thermometer and stick in there, and just give it like a few seconds to register and make sure that you're at 165 degrees. And if you are, you know you're done with this. However, just make sure that you get the outside to a golden color that you want it to be. So you want to make sure that it's right there. You don't really want pale, and you don't want it overcooked either. So it's one of these things you kind of have to pay attention. And as these are cooking, you do want to move them around in the pan to make sure that, for one, they don't stick or anything. If you have a non-stick pan, you're fine. But sometimes even with a non-stick pan, some things will go to the bottom and sit there long enough to where they try to stick, and that'll rip your breading off. So you really don't want that. So you kind of want to move them back and forth a little bit, like every few minutes, just to make sure that everything is in place and that your breading isn't getting stuck and ripped off, because the whole point of making this is you want it to look good on that bun. So we want to make sure that the breading stays in place. You're going to cook these probably 8-9 minutes each side. Flip them over and just check them to see how they're doing. And when they are done, we're going to pull them out. Now, when you put these out to cool, you want to put them on a wire rack over top of some kind of pan to catch the oil underneath, so that way your breading stays crisp. And when mine was done, it looks something like this. And these are amazing to eat, and I'm sure you'll like them. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.